At first I spoke of metaphysical generalities in order to set a stage. Our spiritual intellect first grasps such realities by intuitive discernment, and later the discursive rationality verifies all that which was already spiritually known, but not fully realized in the flesh. The accomplishment of this process is the meaning of alchemy. And this can be said because the time for the secret practice is now near the end, as the end of the world in which alchemy has any meaning or any necessity is also now near the end. The duality I mentioned at outset is absolute in this universe and defines its existence. And in the context of that meta-duality, all lesser dualities have their manifestation. These lesser dualities have a grand and benign form in ultimate reality beyond this little travesty. But here they bear a resemblance to that which they unfaithfully imitate, just enough to dazzle the spiritual mind and beguile the physical mind into a corrupt and false unity. This is the essential point. The duality of mind and matter is a corrupt form of the original duality of mind and mind, one overlapping the other. In the original, this was a true communion by familial generation of spiritual emanation. What we have here is a sluggish and opaque filter that prevents or enables the thwarting of communion between divine beings. But it also enables the fraudulent pretenses of evil to temporarily pass for genuine expression by way of lifeless institutions of norms and traditions, originally founded by divine beings in their substance, but since then plagiarized and mocked by usurpers. And we all know who those usurpers are. In this world, then, what we mean by matter is that corrupt and evil mind which acts as a third party to manipulate all would-be mind-to-mind communication. Witness the world around. Beings use their vulnerable bodies to exploit one another's, preferring to devour them alive if possible. All through nature it is seen. What does that say of this nature's designer? To borrow a principle of science, it says quite simply that this mind finds that this is the most efficient way to conduct its influence upon other minds, which are unfortunate enough to be exposed to its power. But obviously, such a mind operates on an evil principle, hence its evil handiwork. How then can we expect its purpose to be other than to devour? But to devour itself? Not quite. Rather, to define a position of power over what it would devour, defined as other. Original beings are its desired food, for it, the only other that there is. Yet how? By having gotten enough power at its beginning, this evil mind was able to project an arena of experiences, a sensorium of mental action, which would be founded on control through pain and its relief. All pleasure here in this context is relief from pain for such a being. The pain of its being a lacuna in being as such. It is a doomed project, but as the evidence of our world tells us, it is underway. The bodies which Buddha called pain bodies include subtle and gross aspects, just as does the world thing, which is really the intestinal tract of the evil-minded pseudo-being, also known as the ontological slow-motion train wreck. So these bodies are designed to accommodate a semblance of what they cannot themselves produce. Genuine spiritual mentality. That is always along for the ride, this spiritual mentality. It is always found to be along for this horrible ride as an almost helpless observer. It takes the form of a nascent conscience at the beginning and a revolted spirit, which over time, in one life or over many, manages through a great struggle to transcend and oppose this world thing of matter. Over time, such efforts to correct this evil force by the outer divine being, which had not been imprisoned here and which sometimes broke in order to exert its influence directly, those efforts were ended, and since then, as even the demonic pseudo-minds know, the light beings have been leaving the world, escaping in a strategic and tactical retreat, with the outcome of leaving the evil mind only its own corrupt form to auto-cannibalize. This process is not ceremonial, but it is simply a pragmatic undertaking. In these recent thousands of years in this area of the universe, this process has gone on quite well and nears its final end now. So well, in fact, that the mother of invention, necessity, has cut through matters to accelerate this process. For evil beings, it has been in the form of weaponizing technology and methodology to amplify its already natural tendencies and practices, which are already historically well documented and a part of our cultural lore everywhere, also known as evil, organized criminal activity. For the good beings, it has been a final shocking process of differentiation and separation from the now nakedly evil world, so exposed now in its hungry aggressions that it is devouring itself already, and it cannot even pretend to be anything but the vile monster that it is. This includes pointedly and specifically that vile impostor here, which misdubs itself humanity.